Bună dimineața și bun găsit la Mediu. Sunt Sabina Iosub și vă invit să rămâneți alături de mine în următoarea jumătate de oră. O să discutăm chestiuni legate de mediu. Today, here with me in the European Parliament in Strasbourg is the European Commissioner for Environment, Virginijus Sinkevičius. Thank you so much for your presence.
Thank you for having me.
I'm always saying European Commissioner for Environment, but it's also very important that during this mandate you've covered also oceans and fisheries, and we will discuss about these areas also. Let's draw a line and let's see together, after one mandate, what was, in your opinion, the most important thing that the Commission has done during covering this area of environment, oceans and fisheries.
Let me start maybe with the overall achievement of this Commission, which was very important for the times that we lived through. First of all, I think that this Commission had a heart, soul and face. And by that I mean President von der Leyen. Because Commission was reactive. If before, many people would say that Europe is not there where it's needed, I think this Commission has proved that Europe is capable to be there when it's needed. Because first of all, yes, we've started mandate in the background of Fridays for Future protests, and we've put the Green Deal as the main policy. However, nobody could predict that, but pandemic happened. And pandemic, we've managed to battle together. I'm truly proud of what we achieved as regards the vaccines, when all member states received vaccines at the same time, and all member states exited the pandemic together. And I think this is a truly European moment. Doesn't matter your GDP size, you live in the outskirts of Romania or you live in Bavaria, we all equal Europeans. And I think that was a very important moment. Second, when we saw that because of pandemic, of the shutdowns, and especially the services were heavily affected, we came with the Next Generation EU. So a huge amount of money, almost 300 billion, which again all member states borrowed together and distributed across the member states to kickstart Europe's economy, increase our businesses' competitiveness, create the jobs, allow businesses to breathe in fresh air after the pandemic. And last but not least, of course, our reaction as regards Russia's illegal, unjustified, full-scale invasion on Ukraine. We've reacted also swiftly. We have broken many boundaries as regards helping the Ukraine with our 50 billion support, which we've adopted, months ago, while US was battling until this weekend, basically. We've managed to provide military support, which was never done before from the EU funds. So I think this has been great achievements, but they were achieved because European Commission managed to react. Now, when we come to my portfolio and achievements of my portfolio, I'm very proud of EU deforestation regulation, ensuring that we take responsibility for our consumption patterns, that, when we talk about forest losses globally, we ensure that we don't consume them. I'm happy that we started with the textiles and food waste. I'm particularly proud of our circular economy action plan. I'm happy that we took the batteries initiatives, because batteries use will increase 14-fold, and we have thought about it before, and batteries recycling is now in a legislation in EU. So I think these are extremely important achievements, topping up also international files. On oceans, we have agreed on the protection of the high seas, 20 years of negotiations, and we've managed to finalize them. On biodiversity, we achieved a COP15 agreement, a Kunming-Montreal historic agreement, with the clear targets for 2030. So I think it was a very rich mandate. On top of our files, we always had to react of what was happening on the ground. Not to say that Brexit was also a challenge from the very beginning that we needed to battle, and especially in my portfolio with the fisheries file.
Let's focus a little bit on deforestation. It was a huge debate. First of all, it wasn't very easy to put everything together, because we know how much money are actually made in this area. What is the biggest change in terms of deforestation?
So as regards the deforestation, the biggest change is that we've managed to combine trade measures and environmental policy. And that's the only way how I think it can be truly working. Because we've ensured that if the 7 products that are in the legislation, if they are coming from the land plot, which before was forest, so basically forest was cut, and then the land use changed to agriculture, these products cannot be sold on the EU market. And I think this is a great achievement to fight global deforestation, because that's a real tool. And it also includes legal and illegal deforestation. So basically means that we not going to import any products that are associated with deforestation here in the EU, but also outside the EU. And when there is no market, then the other side is forced to think of the solution, because we see that there are plenty of solutions that never been used before.
Like?
Efficiency of agriculture. We saw with the President Lula, for example, first term in Brazil, where he managed to increase the output of the agriculture and decrease deforestation. So I think, you know, that can work. It already worked in practice. So we have to invest into efficiency of our agriculture. We have to invest into the soil monitoring, ensuring that there is access to water, which is also some regions already suffering. So there are many components. But most importantly, that deforestation is not a solution. And also it was not a solution to fight poverty. You know, I would understand that we would say that, you know, with the increasing rates of deforestation, we've managed in third countries to fight poverty. But that's also not true. Poverty has increased, while deforestation also has increased.
Have you managed to plant all the trees that you've wanted to plant?
So, you know, 3 billion trees initiative, which I love myself very much, it's basically, you know, still ongoing because it's until 2030. But for example, even this weekend I was back home in Lithuania, where we had a massive tree planting, where, you know, I think around 300,000 new trees were planted, and member states are doing that. We see our database is more and more popping up. So I'm pretty sure we will reach the 3 billion target. But most importantly is to ensure that we not only plant new trees, but we protect our old growth forests.
You know that in this area Romania had some problems. How is now doing?
Well, Romania managed to implement most of what Commission has asked. Of course, ticking the boxes as regards the legislation is not enough. What we need is a action on the ground. So when we talk about Sumal system, or when we talk about the new plans, they have to be implemented on the ground. So Commission still working very closely with the Romanian authorities, ensuring that, of course, we see tangible results on the ground.
Let's discuss also about the air pollution problem in Romania. Infringements are there for my country, unfortunately. We've discussed together this subject too many times, in my opinion. I'm sure that in yours also. Is still trying to move in the right direction, my country?
Well, air pollution is a challenge that many EU member states are facing, especially those with the bigger cities. That's a challenge of the cities. Some, of course, challenged by their geographical conditions. But overall, of course, that needs a completely different look at, first of all, mobility within the cities. So far, progress has been very limited. And you are absolutely right saying that we are discussing it way too often, because what that means is basically, you know, there is still a huge impact on human life. there is still a huge impact on people's health. And we still have, almost 300,000 premature deaths yearly in the EU because of the air pollution. And you can look from a different angles. You can look from the angle of the healthcare budget that we spend on it. You can look at the angle of people who are not able to work because of these diseases. So it means that, economy is not created, GDP is not created. So there are a lot of suffering in this topic, which due to economic reasons, but first of all, for the better health of our citizens, we need to solve it, including Romania, and Commission will be consistent on pushing for the implementation of the Air Quality Directive.
If we are looking at the other countries in the European Union, are they doing better in terms of air pollution?
So some manages to improve, the others not. There are different challenges that member states are facing, but as I said, mainly this is a transport pollution within the cities.
Bears. I'm discussing about bears because in Romania we have too many. In the European Union, I think we have two little families of bears. Recently a bear was almost near Bucharest, the capital of Romania. You've been to Bucharest, so we don't have mountains over there, so we don't have big forests, so we don't exactly understand how a family of bears appeared near the capital. What should we do at the European level and also at the Romanian level? Different situations, same problem.
But you see, the legislation here, Birds and Habitats Directive, is not applied across EU. Rules, yes, they are universal, but the assessment of the population of the carnivores, bears, wolves, lynx, they are done by the member states. So the data that Commission has is not Commission's data. We receive it from the member states. And then when that data is assessed, we can see and say, if certain carnivore population is doing well or it's on the verge of extinction. And then based on that, we take decisions at, which annex that would be put and what sort of measures needs to be taken.
So if a member state is lying to you, here comes to the bad solution.
Of course, we need accurate data. Accurate data is like, it's like coming to a doctor and describing, your health situation. So the more accurately you describe it, then he can, do the certain checks and
prescribe the right medicine.
The right medicine. Same goes with the legislation. Same goes with the implementation of legislation. If the data is not accurate, if the data shows that there is actually very small amount of bears population in Romania, then of course the Habitats Directive applies the provisions that ensures that the population of bears increases. If it shows the opposite, that the population of bears has significantly increased and it's in the safe category, then of course there is much more flexibility for Romania to ensure that certain measures are applied.
What do we do with the nature restoration law?
Well, I think the most bizarre situation with nature restoration law that it's damaging institutional decision making. This unique project, European Union, is first of all about compromises between 27 member states, finding the very thin line on which all can agree. And usually that requires for you to give up something. Nevertheless, this is a unique project that nobody managed to repeat in the world. Nobody. And I spoke with Colombia's president, Kenya's president. They are dreaming in the regions to create something like that, but still they don't manage, even with the smaller amount of countries. I think what's very important, that when you have a legislation that has passed all the stages, it have to be closed. Now, Belgian presidency, together with some member states, are creating a very dangerous precedent that can be used in the future, that despite that democratically elected institution, European Parliament confirmed what was agreed, again, with the same Council in the trialogues, is not confirmed anymore by the Council. And that's absolutely strange situation in which we are. So it sets a very dangerous precedent. I hope that we're still going to be able to work with the member states and close this file. Of course, election doesn't help. Now it's a pre-electoral time.
In general, elections.
Exactly, and everyone is seeking, you know, for a space to speak to their voters and try to show that they are in some sort of, you know, opposition.
And how this, by procedure, can be closed?
So it's just a simple vote for a qualified majority in the council.
In
Yes.
the council,
so
okay.
that can be even done within the Coreper meeting, as long as you have numbers for a qualified majority.
We'll see. It's still debatable, it's still negotiable, and we'll see exactly what happens in this area. Fisheries, what have you done good for them?
Well,
or bad?
I think the most important is that we've been reactive on the challenges that fishers met. Because with the COVID pandemic, all the fisheries markets were down. Restaurants closed, fishmongers not working, shopping malls, they need way less fish, and etc. So, of course, the market was down and we needed to react. I'm happy that we had our emergency fund, which we have released very quickly. Similar situation has happened with the Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Fuel diesel price has skyrocketed, and of course our vessels are heavily dependent on fuel price. So they've been basically left without any profit. So we also managed to react, to have a compensation mechanisms, but I think in the long term, what I've said, and now I've started a process of reviewing the common fisheries policy, we really need to look into the future and decarbonize our fleet. The fleets of the European Union cannot be dependent on the fossil fuels, on marine diesel, because that dependency kills any profitability if anything is happening in the world, and then our fishers are basically left without any healthy profits. And that's something what we've needed to change. On top of that, I'm happy that we started a process on decarbonization of the fleet. That's an important process. I'm happy that we have achieved a significant improvements of certain fishery stocks, especially in the North Sea. We still need to deal with many problems: pollution, Black Sea, the Baltic, even the North Sea. They are literally very polluted seas. And that has a significant pressure on our fishers, on the fish stocks that they depend on. So therefore, I'm very happy with our zero pollution action plan, which consistently takes into account, you know, all the most significant polluters and tries to prevent them before happening. Because of course, when it happens, then it's already too late to clean it.
Very difficult to do anything actually in the Black Sea now due to the war in Ukraine and due to the situation over there.
Yes, unfortunately, the war continues. We need to do much more than we have done in order to ensure that Ukraine wins the war, that the war is not coming to our borders. Romania knows this case better than most of the countries in the EU, so we need to support Ukraine with all we can. And when it comes to the Black Sea, that's going to be a significant challenge. The mining activities will be a significant challenge of this sea. But first of all, of course, we need to ensure that the war ends with Ukrainian victory.
When you were to Romania, you've seen part of it, a very small part of it. When are you going to come back?
I should come back in the near future.
During this mandate, How was, in your opinion, Romania?
Well,
A good partner.
Overall, I would say a very constructive partner, and I'm truly thankful to the president of the country, to the government. You know, particularly I worked a lot with, of course, ministers of environment. Even a lot of them changed through that time. Still, they were constructive. Some progress has been done as regards the infringements. And I think that's very important. Romania was, and I'm pretty sure will be, a very valuable partner.
When you started your mandate, we've met for the first time for recording this talk show, and I asked you back then, I don't know if you remember, what are you telling your kids about your activity? I'm asking again this question. After a mandate, what are you telling your kids about what Daddy has done?
Well, they grew, you know, 5 years passed, and they are much older now, so they capable of making their opinion themselves from what they see.
And you have one more also?
Yes, I have the youngest, which is 1. So I have 3 in total, but you know, they think that their dad is saving the planet. First of all, planet's environment. Secondly, of course, planet's oceans, and they always have these vivid examples of, you know, decreasing plastic pollution, ensuring that the sea is healthy and they can go in the summer and swim in the sea. So that's how they see my work. Of course, this position also comes with a lot of traveling, and that's the most difficult part, where you don't get to see your family as often as you want, especially when your kids are still little. You know, they grow so fast.
What is, in the end of our discussion, your message, Commissioner, for those who are watching you right now?
Well, the message is very simple. Soon you will be together with the rest of the Europeans voting for a new European Parliament. The challenges are great, especially geopolitical situation. So therefore, please support pro-European powers. We need every vote to take a decisions that will strengthen European Union. European Union is going to be as strong as every member state of it. So if Romania is going to be strong, EU is going to be only stronger. So therefore your vote is going to be very important. So I hope that you will be able to come, vote, and please support pro-European powers.
Thank you for being with us, Commissioner, and who knows, maybe we will meet again in a new mandate with you as Commissioner.
We'll see.
Good luck.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all the time that you had me on this show.
Thank you again. Vouă celor de acasă vă spun să rămâneți pe Antena 3 CNN. Nu uitați că ne revedem și sâmbătă viitoare la 9:30. Cu bine și sănătoși să fim!